Hello and welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Zoidberg, and I used to write for Amiga Action and Games X magazines, reviewing video games for a living. This is the re-review, where I take a look back at all the games that I played during this time. In each episode, I'm going to take one selected game and see if I stand by my original assessment, or if my opinion has changed. As the Commonwealth Games and the Euros are happening right now, I'm feeling a little bit sporty. So in this episode, I'm going to take a look at the Aquatic games, developed by Vectordine and published by Millennium in 1992. James Pond was the brainchild of designer Chris Sorrell and is one of the enduring icons of the Amiga era, starring in 3 enjoyable platforming adventures. The second of these, James Pond 2, codenamed Robocod, was released in 1991 to critical and commercial success. But with the third game suffering delays in its development, publisher Millennium decided that a spin-off was needed in order to keep the public's interest in the character. The Aquatic games, starring James Pond and the Aquabats, was born. Sorrell would go on to work at Sony's Cambridge studio, acting as game director and designer on the original Medieval for the PlayStation 1. These days it isn't unusual for our platform game heroes to branch out into other genres, but in 1992 it was practically unheard of. Super Mario Kart was still a few months away from release, and Mario himself wouldn't get properly sporty until Mario Tennis for the ill-fated Virtual Boy 3 years later. Game design and programming for the Aquatic games came courtesy of Steve Back, who had previously acted as a level designer on Robocod. It puts the one-time underwater agent and a group of his friends through 8 Olympic-style events, including the 100-metre splash, leapfrog and kipper watching. Conversions for the Mega Drive and SNES would follow in 1993, and sales were reasonable for a spin-off title. But was the game actually any good? Let's take a look at my original review and see what I thought. My review of the Aquatic games appeared in issue 38 of Amiga Action from November 1992. It was a packed issue featuring previews of the Chaos Engine, Darkmere from Core Design, and Nigel Mansell's World Championship from Gremlin, which also featured on the cover. I awarded the game 72%. Spread across 2 pages, my review described the pros and cons of each of the game's 8 events and how their difficulty ranged from overly easy to incredibly tough. I preferred the simplicity of the more traditional track and field style events over the ones with complex controls and overly long timers. I praised the game's excellent presentation, stating that the graphics and music more than lived up to the rest of the James Pond series. Unfortunately, that was the only part that I thought felt right though. Sadly, this product doesn't live up to the James Pond name. Playability wise, it isn't for the experienced gamer, but youngsters may enjoy the title a lot more. My overall impression was of a game that seemed like a filler title until James Pond 3 arrived. Is this still the case? Time to play it again and see. So let's give this a play. Right, the menu is a little bit confusing because pressing left and right doesn't cycle through the options in the way that you'd think, but the Aquatic games option in the middle is how you'll play through the main part of the game. So this just throws you straight into the 100-metre splash. Now I'm playing this on the A500 Mini, so I have actually programmed it in so that pressing left and right on the joystick is now on buttons, but this was a game clearly designed for use with a joystick, and it's one of those games that you would quite potentially break your joystick while playing from having to waggle left and right as fast as you could. The next event is kipper watching, which is a bit of a weird one. What you have to do is you have to deflect these beach balls away from waking up the seals at the bottom, which is all very well and good, like perfectly decent mini game. But as you can see, when you look at the bottom of the screen, in order to qualify for the next event, I'm going to have to do this for 4 minutes. And 4 minutes is a long time when you're heading beach balls away from seals. Oh, no way! 2 minutes 51. And I failed. Hey! Hop, skip and jump. Right. I'm pretty sure I didn't get far enough on that one. No, I didn't. Only 549. Right. That's close. That's pretty close. That's over 800, qualified, yes! Now this is a really weird event. You have to bounce between these 2 sponges. It's essentially trampolining, where you can do different manoeuvres in the air. Don't know what hitting those clamshells in the middle actually does for you. Does it do anything? You can't fault the presentation of this. The graphics and sound are nice throughout. And I've reached the 4-minute time limit, and that's it. Is that game over? Poor result. Game over. Failed to qualify. Now, because of the unforgiving nature of this game, that actually sends me all the way back to the beginning. You don't get lives. So that is my final score. 1 gold, 1 bronze, 1 silver. And that's me back to the menu. You could actually just go to the Piranha Practice option, and that will let you play each event in turn. So we've done the 100-meter splash, we've done kipper watching, we've done hop, skip and jump, we've done the bouncy castle. Let's have a look at what feeding time is all about. It seems like the kind of game that you would get on a mobile, but in general this whole game is the kind of thing that you would get on mobile in today's market, being a spin-off of a more popular series. What is shell shooting? Well, yeah, that's one thing that this game is actually missing, is some kind of instructions before the matches even start. There's nothing telling me what I'm supposed to actually be doing here. Whatever it is, I just failed, and that's now a poor result. So, Tour de Grace. I believe the objective on this one is to rotate the... Yeah, you have to rotate to cycle. Not ideal on a joypad. Being able to press the fire button at the same time is it's like trying to rub your head and pat your stomach at the same time. It's a nice concept ruined by its control method, really. So let's move on to the final event, which is leapfrog. And what do you have to do on leapfrog? So this is going to be like hurdles then. Oh, quicker. I think it's time to do a quick summary then, really, isn't it? I can't decide whether the Aquatic games is best played with a joypad or a joystick, as there are definitely events that benefit from both. One thing is clear though, it's definitely not a game worth playing unless you've got friends to join you. It absolutely feels like a game that's out of date. Many of the design decisions simply wouldn't stand in today's market, like the fact that none of the events have a handy intro screen explaining the controls and what you're meant to be doing. Played as a multiplayer title, 5 out of the 8 events are fairly entertaining, but this was never a title that you'd want to go back to for more, even in 1992. What made the likes of Track and Field and Daley Thompson's Decathlon Classics was the fact that you always felt like you could improve, and there's none of that here. At times it feels like a game you'd get on mobile devices today, and it's little more than an interesting curiosity for James Pond completionists. It's worth a look as one of the first examples of its kind, and for the still excellent presentation, but that's about it. Even my original 72% score feels high by today's standards. Magazines like Amiga Action very rarely use the full 100 scale, and a 72 would probably read more like a 50 or a 5 out of 10, and that's the score that I'd give it now. Thank you for watching the re-review. If you enjoyed this video, you can catch up on all previous episodes by clicking on the playlist. Please support our channel by liking, subscribing and ringing the bell so that you never miss a video. I'm over on Twitter at UKGNZoidberg if you want to ask me anything about gaming. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with the next episode in this series, and you can stay tuned for a sneak peek of what's going to be coming then. See you soon.